Welcome everybody to the Bush and Me show. Week 3 is here already. Week 2, I went 3-0, coming off a little 3-0 sweep. You were 1-2. You were 1-2.
I was 1-2. It could have easily been 2-1. My Saints let me down. They didn't do what they usually do against the Bucks. It was a little altercation, so things kind of got a little out of whack for those guys. But the game that really kind of got me a little upset was that Bears and that Packers. That's a big-time rivalry. And you're talking about, hey, we're trying to find a way to get back into this game. Meehan, what did the Bears do? What did they do? Fourth and inches. Fourth and goal, fourth and inches. And we're going to quarterback sneak. But wait, we're going to start in the shotgun and we're going to put Justin Fields at the 5-yard line. You got to be shitting me. I knew, I had a feeling they weren't going to win the game. I didn't think they were going to win the game, but to cover that, almost 10-point spread? Like that, if you would have scored there, it would have put you within 7. It could have been a competitive game. That's the one that really got me mad.
That would have covered the spread, but over at me'smoneymoves.com, we had the under. So we kind of needed you to get stuff there, nothing personal. But if you look at your games, you could have won the 2 that you lost and probably should have lost the 1 that you won. So
yeah, it was
Dolphins.
It was quite an exciting game from Tua and these Dolphins. Now that was I think that was a big statement win to go up to Baltimore and to come out there and get that W. I know the last time I played in Baltimore with the Dolphins, it did not look good for 2 outings. So that win really meant a lot to me. I know it didn't mean that much to you. I know it hurt you a little bit, but
it hurt. It hurt, but I had a feeling that secondary was a little banged up. I didn't think they were going to expose them like that all in one quarter, but that's why we play the game, I guess. I was 3-0, though. I had the Patriots. I had the 49ers, even without Trey Lance. And the lock was the Detroit Lions getting some love on this show. 2-0 against the spread for us. So,
do you think they show up again this week?
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out when we get into our picks.
Okay.
For me last week, as you remember, I said week 2 is always about how people overlook what happened in week 1. My saying was nothing is as good as it seems. Nothing is as bad as it looks. For week 3, I'm sticking with a motto, but we're changing up a little bit. We had some time. Now we're ready to shine. That's going to be my flow today. We had some time. Now we're ready to shine. And who could that mean more to than Matt Ryan and the Indianapolis Colts? He has not shined at all this year. They tied week 1. They couldn't even score last week against Jacksonville. He's got 1 TD, 4 interceptions, 63.9 QBR. So why would you ever take him and the Colts against the Kansas City Chiefs, perennial powerhouse, been in the AFC Championship game, Super Bowl. No one's going to take the Colts this week, right? But they've had some time together. I think they're ready. If there's going to be a time to turn this season around, I think it's this week for the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not saying they're going to win the game. They're going to keep it competitive. Spread 6 right now. It went down to 5.5 a few places here this week. That 5.5 is a key number this year. Teams that are favored by 5.5 at the closing line are 0-4 this year. That's a funny number. It's a funny number in the NFL where it's like, oh, it's less than a field goal. Oh, it's less than 2. It's less than a touchdown. It's less than 2 field goals. 5.5. Well, they're going to cover that, and then you turn around and they don't cover it. Some of those teams will win the game, but they won't cover. Another reason here I'm taking the Colts. The Chiefs are coming off that win against the Chargers, and they play the Bucks next week. This is that sandwich game where you can overlook it a little bit. They might be able to sneak away with this win, but I think the Colts can turn everything together. Matt Ryan's going to come out and finally play a good game with Frank Wright. Frank Wright's on the hot seat now. He's got to get his team motivated, and this is that part where they could catch the Chiefs sleeping. Give me the Colts and the points in this game.
Stat man, you always come with the numbers. I don't know about this one, big dog. I mean, the Chiefs got some firepower. I do think that the Colts definitely gotta find a way to find their way, man. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they've been looking pretty rough for the first couple of weeks. Matt Ryan is not really finding a way to get the job done. Jonathan Taylor hasn't been able to put up those numbers like he did last year. It's time to get him rolling, man. As far as my, how I'm looking this week, I'm going with all the away teams going into other stadiums and upsetting guys and upsetting teams. This is my motto this week. This is my first game here, and you've been saying the Lions been giving a lot of love, been getting a lot of love on the Bush and B show. Well, they're getting a lot of love again right now. I love the way this team is. Keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling. Listen, Detroit's going into Minnesota to face the Vikings. Battle for first place in the NFC North, but the loser goes all the way to fourth. I think this is a great opportunity for the Lions to just keep stacking, man. Keep getting behind that head coach and that coaching staff. I love what Jared Goff is doing right now. He's doing a pretty decent job of taking care of the ball. Only 1 interception, but 6 touchdowns so far in 2 games. That's second place in the NFL. And the Lions are doing a great job of outrushing their opponents. 372 yards to 304. That's almost 70 more yards than their opponents in 2 games. So they're doing a really great job of staying ahead of the sticks. And even though Goff did throw those 4 touchdown passes last week, it's going to be interesting to see because Minnesota did struggle versus the Eagles, giving up 350-plus yards through the air. So I think it's a good opportunity for Jared to continue to keep that train rolling because I think that is important. Good quarterback play will also lead, that team to at least be in it in the fourth quarter, and that's exactly what you want. When you have a gritty, tough, physical team like the Detroit Lions, you need good quarterback play, and Jared Goff is stepping up right now. But the one area that I'm really concerned about the Lions is their front line because they struggled a little bit in pass pro versus the Washington Commanders last week, and I don't believe it gets any easier this week when you got Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter coming off the edge. I think it's time, one, to get that running back stable for the Detroit Lions going between Swift and Williams. And let's see if you can stay ahead of the sticks, get in some second and manageable, third and short situations so you get your team down the field and you can sustain drives. I really like the Detroit Lions. What's the spread in this one, Me? I believe it's 6.
Spread 6, over-under is 53, so it should be a high-scoring game. But I like the pick. I like the line.
I do. I think it's going to be competitive. I would like to see them go in there and win, but I do think they can definitely keep this closer to 6.
I like it. If it gets down to 5.5, that'll be that number that we like.
Yeah,
Speaking of 5.5, now this game, my next game, doesn't exactly fit into my motto this week. We had some time, now we're ready to shine. But there are some new faces in Miami. You got the head coach. You got Tyreek Hill. You got some new weapons down there, right? So they had some time the first 7 quarters of the season, and they started to shine in the fourth quarter. That's why you won your pick last week.
Mm-hmm.
They look great, but now they're at home against Buffalo. Buffalo played Monday night. Buffalo won Monday night. You know my little shindig. I can't tell you the whole thing. You'll steal it from me.
Mm-hmm.
But they fit into this system. Play against Buffalo. It's tough to play against Buffalo, right? Everyone's going to look at these picks and be like, Meehan's crazy. He's going Colts against Chiefs, and now he's taking the Dolphins against the Bills. Well, listen to this stat. Only 13 times since 1999 has an NFL team trailed by 17 points after the third quarter and won. The following week, those 13 teams have taken that momentum, and 10 times they've won the next week against the spread. Cover the spread. Miami is one of those teams. Miami's the 14th team. So I like their odds taking that momentum from the Baltimore game. They're going to be at home. They're playing against Buffalo, which they're going to have to outshoot them, but they showed us last week that they can. They can put up the points to compete with the Bills. I think the Bills are riding high right now. Everybody's talking about Super Bowl, Josh Allen. Everybody's saying, the Bills are the favorites.
Listen, they got to come to South Florida, baby, and they got to deal with Tua and the rest of that speed they got. Let's go.
This is where they're going to get nipped when they're not looking. I like Miami. It's 5.5. Remember my number.
Mm-hmm.
Favorites of 5.5 this year, 0-4. I think they're going to go 0-2 as I got the Colts, and now I got the Dolphins.
Hey, I like that pick. Man. These guys here in South Florida, they got to keep it rolling. I might be witnessing this right from the stands, big dog. I believe this is must-see TV this week. This is my game of the week. I can't wait to see it. I think I got to go see it in person, me.
Go.
I know, I won't be hitting the grill like I usually do come Sunday, but I will be. I'll probably throw a beer back or two and definitely get those nachos and watch this show, man. I hope these guys can keep it up. But listen, I'm going back to my theme, man. Saints are going in to Carolina this week. I got to talk about my Saints. It's just what I do. It's part of me. When you get Bush, you're going to get New Orleans breakdowns. This is a team that kind of frustrated me a little bit last week, but they're going into Carolina. And I don't think Carolina's the type of team that you're not going to overlook this team at all just because of the internal struggles that the Saints are having at the moment. But these guys in New Orleans, they got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. They're -3 when you're talking about the turnover differential. But I do believe AK coming back will definitely bring some juice to this offense. But listen, where's the pressure at, man? I mean, this Saints defensive line, it's led by Cam Jordan. He is getting up there in age, so he can't be that player that he's been always in the past. He's going to take a few games and he's going to get it going. But where's Marcus Davenport? Where's Carl Granderson? Where's Peyton Turner? You spent first-round picks on two of those guys that I just named, two of those young guys. So these guys got to step it up. This defense has 1 sack. And that's not even by one player. It's 2 half sacks by your 2 interior defensive tackles. The edge rushers have got to come along if the Saints want to have any success against this Carolina Panthers team, because this is 2 awesome matchups that I'm looking forward to. You got some firepower, and obviously Christian McCaffrey and Baker Mayfield. You don't know what you're going to get out of this guy week in and week out. But then, you do have Robbie Anderson. You got DJ Moore. Hopefully the New Orleans Saints do get Paulson Adebo back, and they're going to have Marshawn Lattimore on the other side of Adebo. That's one great matchup that I'm looking to see. I believe that if those guys can hold up their end of the bargain, you got to find a way to get around Baker Mayfield. You got to put pressure. The pressure has got to come this week. It is not a good look right now. And even on the flip side, I said, where is the pressure? It's been a little bit too much pressure on Jameis Winston. The Saints offensive line, and it's not just the offensive line. It goes back to running back, blocking assignments, and making sure that Jameis is stepping up in the pocket. But the Saints are second in the NFL right now with 10 sacks given up. That is not they're not playing New Orleans Saints style of football. And it's not going to get any easier this week, because I believe that this is one of the better defensive lines in the NFC South when you're talking about edge rushers and guys who can play tough in the middle. You got Brian Burns, who had 2 sacks last week, and they have Matt Ioannidis and young Derek Brown, who's a force in the middle. It's always a tough matchup when the Saints go into Carolina. The spread is 3 in favor of the Saints. I think this is the week that these guys kind of find their mojo and go into Carolina and get this W.
I don't want to piss you off here, but this is a coin flip game to me, like you said. NFC South, it's going to be a tough battle. They got the over-under at 40 here. It's one of the lowest on the board all week. Not going to be a lot of points scored. It's going to come down to Ken Winston take care of the ball, and he hasn't shown us that he can do that yet. For your sake, I hope he does, but I think this will be a hard-fought, low-scoring battle, coin flip game. 1 or 2 plays will decide the outcome.
For sure.
Locks. Let's lock it up this week. I'm 2-0. You're 1-1. Let's see if we can keep rolling this train in. 3-1 combined. We've had some time. Now we're ready to shine. Who's the second team in the NFL that is most applicable to besides the Colts? It's got to be the Denver Broncos here. And I'm riding them against the 49ers this week. Spread's 1.5. Russell Wilson hasn't looked great. It was an emotional first night back in Seattle. They lost. They didn't look great last week against Houston, but they won. They got the win. 2 TDs and an interception is what he has all year. 86.5 QBR. Not great. Is he managing the game? Not really. They haven't done anything, but they have another week of practice. They got Nathaniel Hackett, who got all the bad play calling, I think, out of the way. He's going to start to find his groove. Russell's going to find his groove in that offense. Him and Sutton looked a little better last week with timing. 49ers are at home next week against the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champions. So another one of these sandwich spots. where they could be overlooking Denver. Denver hasn't really done anything. Let's get ready for the Rams. One last stat to leave you, which made me lock this one in as my lock. Who knows the 49ers better than Russell Wilson? He played them 20 times when he was in Seattle, 16-4 record. He knows them better than they know themselves. I'm going with Russell this week. I think it's going to be a big, big win here for Denver. They're going to make a statement. They're getting 1.5. I think they win the game outright. Lock it up. My lock of the week, the Denver Broncos.
Love the pick. Love the pick. You know, I guess I thought it was how Stella got her groove back, but I guess we're trying to figure out how Russell got his groove back, you know. And I feel you, man. Listen, Russell Wilson has kind of been a little bit of a shell of himself, but he's still getting used to Denver, playing with that team. I believe that the Broncos are another one of those teams that hasn't had enough time to play together, maybe lack of preseason. Some of these teams are just starting out really slow. So I believe this week, the next week or so, you're going to see teams that are used to playing better, that are gelling better than they did in the past. I think you're going to start to see that kind of pick back up. Listen, my lock of the week.
Give it to me. Lock it up.
I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of stats here. I'm just going to be real with you. The Baltimore Ravens, man. What happened to your team last week? This is not Baltimore Ravens. This is not Baltimore Ravens style football. To let up a 21, it was the 21 points in the fourth quarter. I know you. It was 21 points.
14 if you can do the math.
Yeah, I was okay in math. But listen, 21 points, whatever it was. That's not Ravens style football. And to let the Dolphins come back like that, I believe that this is redemption week. In the Baltimore Ravens, what better place would you want to go and redeem yourself than going up to New England? You know how Belichick is. You know the type of game this is going to be. It's going to be a hostile environment. But I believe Lamar Jackson has done any and everything that he can to prove to this team that, one, I need to be here long term, so pay me my money. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. You got to keep him happy. You got to be pleased with what he did last week. But the Baltimore Ravens defense was a total letdown. They looked extremely out of sync last week. I seen guys, not just I, but everybody seen guys running down the field uncovered. It just looked like it was a lack of communication. This is a big bounce back week for the Ravens. This game right here, it's not about stats. It's about pride. It's about playing for the black and the purple. And I believe that the Ravens are going to go up to New England and go in there and get that W. The spread is in favor of 3 of the Ravens. They got to pull it out. They got to play together on defense and go up there and I'm not saying save their season, but this is not a taste that you want to continue to have in your mouth. To give up that lead, that puts so much positive momentum to the Miami Dolphins, and it's a real shock to the Ravens. I know the feeling. So there's no stats. It's all about what this team is trying to do, how they're going to respond, and I'm looking for them to respond in a big way this week.
I'm looking forward too. Damn it, I'm looking forward too.
Well, I would hope so.
First year D coordinator's got to bounce back, like you said, and this New England team is a shell of what they used to be. They're projected to finish 3rd in the AFC East. We're supposed to win the AFC North. So, like you said, if we're gonna be that team, this is the statement game we got to make. I like it.
Yeah, I think that was. I like my picks this week. I love.
You like your picks every week.
I do like my picks every week. I mean,
it's always the Saints.
I gotta. That's my common theme. You're the stat man. I'm going to throw Saints in there, whether I feel like they're going to win or not. I'm going to make my case for them. But it's a little difficult. You got one of the best breakdowns. You got one of the best breakdowns on the team. You know him. You spent some time in preseason with him. I did. And listen, I remember going up. And this is going to be speaking of the Saints, this is going to be a tough game for these guys. Because I can remember being in the booth, watching the Saints at the Panthers last year, and it was not pretty. Even though we were going through COVID stuff with the coaches, it was not pretty. They were bringing AA mugs. They were bringing blitzes from everywhere. And Tampa did the same thing last week. They blitzed Jameis Winston. They were able to get home. The Carolina Panthers are going to do the same damn thing. So they're going to have to. We're going to have to get it together up front. Not just O-line, not just running back, and not just tight end. It's about Jameis as well, making sure he's stepping up, making those reads, and getting the ball out on time. So I'm excited about that matchup. I'm excited about all three of my matchups. I think it's a great week for me to go 3-0.
We had some time. Now we're ready to shine. You had some time for your picks. Now you're ready to shine. So good luck with your picks this week. A few stats to send you guys away with. A lot of people that bet out there like to take the overs in games because you like to see scoring. Unders this year are 22-10, 69%. So it's been a lot lower score.
What percent?
It's been a lot lower scoring this year, especially in the primetime games. Primetime unders are 6-1. The only one that went over was last Monday night in the Bills game, Bills-Titans, and it went over by 0.5 point. So low-scoring games in prime time. So be careful what you play out there. But just play our locks and you'll be straight. So don't worry about that.
I feel you. Bush and me, week 3. Is that it for us?
Bush and me, week 3. Check us out. Comment. Let us know what else you guys want to see. But follow our picks for Bush and me.
Appreciate you.